But it's so good to be here, and it's so good to introduce my best friend, Paul Coffey. And everybody knows about Paul Coffey. If you don't, just Google him. I've said this before. Numerous Stanley Cups, Canada Cups, World Championships. I've been very, very lucky, very, very fortunate to be all part of that. And Paul's brought me along for the ride. And I knew Paul growing up in Malton in Mississauga. And I love Mississauga. I love Malton. And I work in Malton, in one of your buildings, Phil. Love the building, just so you know. Carlo, he's a good guy. You can keep him around for another 30. He's a good guy. But it's a great building. And Malton's a great community. And it's just so great what we're doing in Malton, naming Malton Arena to the Paul Coffey Arena. And when the playground that we're building there is going to be tremendous with the castles and what we're doing for the kids and the basketball courts. It's all great. But that's not why we're here. We're here for Paul Coffey. So for Paul, I'm not going to talk about his hockey career. I don't need to. But as a friend growing up with Paul, you know, I've known Paul since high school and grade school, and I was his best friend back then, and I'm still his best friend today. Probably even closer today than we ever have. We've been through a lot of things together, and Paul is just a greater person than he is a hockey player. He really is. You know, he has this knack of knowing when something's wrong, and he'll call me up, and he hasn't heard from me. He goes, "What's the matter?" I go, "Nothing." "Oh, no, what's the matter?" I go, "Nothing." I go, "Oh, what's the matter?" He knows, and he's always there to pick you up. He always does stuff for everybody, but he never does anything for himself. He cares so much about everybody. He's such a great family guy, loves his wife to death, his kids to death, his sisters. Just a great guy. And you know, growing up in Malton, I had immigrant parents. My mom and dad are the two greatest people. Unbelievable. My parents, but they didn't do anything with sports. And I loved playing hockey, and I loved going to stuff. But with Paul's mom and dad, Jack and Betty, I was very lucky, because Jack always brought me to baseball games, and I went to Paul's hockey games, and I got to go see things that my dad wouldn't take me to. Not that my dad cared. My dad didn't care about sports in those days. And very, very lucky. And Paul had the upbringing of a European family, Sundays being around the table, and we've had the best of both worlds. And the most thing that Paul introduced me to was craft dinner. I never had craft dinner until I went to Paul's house. We had nice Italian dinners at my place, lasagnas and nice pasta, and I got introduced to craft dinner. He said, "Joe, you got to try it. This stuff's awesome, man." But that's how I got introduced to craft dinner. But enough said. Paul's a great guy, my best friend, Paul Coffey. Thank you, everybody.